All right, and I think it's time actually to start moderating. So good morning to everyone. I see we have quite a bunch of attendees already logged on. And today we have like two parts of the webinar. The first part will be kind of like covering what is EDI and how does it work and what's the value of EDI for businesses and for ERP providers. And then we will have a short questions and answers session. If you have questions, you can actually write them in, there's the button underneath the screen with Q&A, and you can write them anytime you feel like asking a question, but they will be answered within either the first or the second questions and answers session. So, and after this short questions and answers, we will go more into depth and cover development and project management questions. And also at the very end, we will introduce the new product created at Telema, product data sync. And after that, we will go into more technical questions maybe. And yeah, you can note in your question if you want to have like a particular counter perspective in the answer. For example, if the question is related to Latvia or only to Lithuania, or yeah, it can be a more general question, and we'll try to do our best answering them. So, and now I'm handing over the microphone to Thomas, our Chief Technology Officer, who will talk about EDI.
Thank you, Sana. Shortly, I'd like to introduce myself. Yes, I am the Chief Technology Officer in Telema. I started here 20 years ago, 2000, in 1st August. And first 5 years I was a general manager, and right now, yes, last 15 years, technology part is my responsibility, development and operations. But let's go to topic. Usually, if people are here first time EDI, it's unclear what it means, but it's electronic data interchange. It's quite old actually. First communication channels was established between companies and between computers 1965, and this time it happened in USA between railway companies who changed some waybills. And it means that EDI means that computer systems can exchange business information without human intervention and directly from one system to another. But this information includes business documents, what we are usually using in real life, like orders, invoices, waybills, dispatch advices, what else. In EDI, EDIFACT standard, what is the one's oldest, there is more than 200 documents described. And also what is important understand is when we're talking about EDI, it's not 100% same as an e-invoicing, but I will talk about it later. And EDI is widely used in different areas. Our Telema focuses on fast-moving consumer goods, but EDI is widely used in car industry, in electronic industry, in financial industry, and other industries. Now, get closer, EDI versus e-invoicing. EDI enables change much more document types than e-invoicing, because e-invoicing by definition means only sending and receiving e-invoices. And usually what is different is that EDI invoices have much more details about products, about delivery than a simple e-invoice. Because usually EDI invoices describing goods, e-invoices are just simple expense invoices. And also what is different is that the invoices or EDI invoices are addressed should be addressed on business unit level. It can be warehouse, it can be some physical location like shop. In construction industry, it can be construction object somewhere, what is a temporary destination address. But usually e-invoices are addressed to company only. And they are received and paid, and that's it. And also it means that receiving and handling process it is different from for EDI and simple e-invoice, because usually the simple invoice goes directly to accounting, but EDI invoices, because they are describing goods also, the first step in handling is that goods should be received in warehouse. And of course, all EDI invoices are e-invoices, definitely, because they can be machine readable or they are machine readable, and they had includes a lot of information. But e-invoices are not fully functional EDI invoices because there is missing essential part of information what is needed in EDI side. How much it costs for a company? And it's always tricky. We can say that we are doing everything ourselves and it costs nothing for us, but it's not true. All EDI related activities cost something. And this definition is from IT manager of ABB. It was about information system, how much cost information system for company, but it's suitable also for EDI. And the cost includes the setup cost, how much we should do some tasks or implement, deploy something, new features in software. So it's running costs, like hosting cost, service cost, what else, when we're using it every day, backup cost, for example. And but also it includes downtime cost and error cost if it's not working. And usually when we are asking from somebody how much cost email system for a company, then usually hard to say, or usually people can't answer. But if you're asking that what will happen if we switch it off, then you will really understand what it means and how much it costs and how much you benefit from it. And altogether, this free cost of ownership. What is also important to understand that the cost of downtime errors usually in companies are somehow hidden cost. That running cost and setup cost, usually we're getting bills from somebody and we see that number. But how much costs is downtime, it's much more tricky. What will happen if it's not working? No. Of course, if EDI is down today, all the day, we will lose sales because we can't deliver, and in retail, the goods that are not sold today will be not sold never. Decreased customer satisfaction, our clients is not happy, and of course penalties. And in retail sectors, the penalties can be quite huge. This is external cost. Internal cost is delays. in process. Of course, when service is down 2 hours, we will have overload later, and maybe our trucks can go to site on time. There is debugging and resolving cost, of course, overload in warehouse. There can be, if there is mistakes, it can be also very expensive when we're delivering something what is not needed, or receiver can't receive it, or extraordinary deliveries. In retail sector, it happens, but also, I know one example. My friend is working for car industry. They are producing cables, and if something is not delivered on time, they will catch first guy on office, and he will take the cable and take flying tickets and fly to client to deliver extraordinary, and of course appraisal cost. What are the sources? Of course, in EDI side, now we are getting information documents, and if something is wrong in this document, the business information is wrong, or technically it includes some mistakes, it is one source of incident. Hardware and software, nowadays usually software is quite well tested, and hardware is very good. Working process, of course, if I'm doing something wrongly. Environment, internet, if we have broken internet connection, we can't receive, because nowadays everything is based on internet. User skills, of course. Why company needs actually EDI or e-invoicing partner is that everything is about ownership and how much it costs, and also competence. EDI invoicing partner providing document transportation, conversation, building a channel to partner, of course, definitely this is technical stuff, addressing also monitoring and security, but also EDI or operator provides much more. Operators have quite good experience how to organize processes internally, how to organize that they will match to client processes, and how to reduce cost. But what is also important is that if we have a lot of clients or a lot of suppliers, and they have different partners or different technical requirements, it can happen that meet these requirements is very expensive, because there can be some kind of software licenses, some kind of complicated channels, data formats, and so. And this is something that we can use. A lot of cases are for standard cases, but for trading company it can be quite complicated and mission impossible. And of course, competence center support, project management, this is essential part of EDI service also. So that we help to make supply and purchase process more efficient, replacing paper documents, but also enabling much better tuning your processes. Now, how Telema is doing? We're active in Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, but we have clients around the world. They're using our different services. Daily, we are changing more than 70,000 documents and 68 document pairs, what means supplier and delivery location connection, and covering almost essential part of retail sector in Baltic states, and 40 employees right now. And of course, we are providing high SLA. we have very challenging goals, and because we understand that it's very important for our clients. How we are doing in document numbers, here you can see our growth rate in document numbers per year. Last year it was more than 8, how it was. 18 million documents. Links also, this is the pair between supplier and delivery locations. It's also growing and quite quickly. And also revenue. A big part of this revenue we are investing back to innovation and software development. Telema product portfolio. Today we are talking about EDI family and PDS, what is a product data sync or managing product master data. But we are providing services for retail and we are providing it for finance. There is factoring services, invoicing, and invoicing workflows, how to improve invoice and cost allocation. And service quality. Planet and we are measuring our quality daily, monthly, annually, and I am very happy that our service availability during the last 5-10 years was more than 99%. And the downtime unexpected is quite short in annually. So, and who are our clients? Here you see that most of important players on the retail market are using our services, and we try to do our best that they are happy. And also what is very important in EDI and e-invoicing world is international cooperation and roaming with other partners. And we have a lot of partners around Baltic Sea and also more far away in Europe, in Finland, Sweden, but also very important for us are our technology partners like Oracle and Aura, what is a United States based company who providing us technology, and our hosting partners, Project, what is a Swedish company, and Telia, also Sweden. But also some part of our services are in Amazon Web Services in Germany, Frankfurt. And of course, we can't dance tango alone, and a very, very important partners for us are ERP providers who are supporting our clients. And we can't integrate anything with our partners, and I hope very much that today we can provide a lot of information for you that you can do your business better, and we will be successful together. And that's it from my side. Thank you. And now Ramona's from our Lithuanian office will continue.
Okay, hello everybody. Hello everybody, my name is Ramūnas Tvarionas. I am a country manager in Telema, Lithuania, and let's go to the second topic of our today's discussion, Telema EDI for optimized supply chain info flow. Always when I'm presenting EDI topic, I would like to start from EDI advantage. So as Thomas mentioned in the previous presentation, generally speaking, EDI provides more speed, more accuracy for the companies, and also overall supply chain optimization. But let's look in more detail what it is. Let's take the buyer first. So from the buyer's perspective, EDI provides document security and traceability. So you should agree that to compare with email. So email is not secure as a technology, and additionally, it is not traceable. So you definitely had accidents when the emails got lost somewhere and nobody knew who took over those emails. So in contrast, EDI documents, they are transferred via secure and encrypted channels. So, and in addition to that, we also provide traceability. So everybody can log into Telema portal and make sure that the document was received by our system. Another advantage is that for the buyer, there is no need to adapt to multiple document formats which are used by multiple suppliers. We are also providing validating document content. This validation can be general, like checking invoice number. Does it have a correct structure? But it can be also kind of very complicated validation depending on very concrete buyer's needs. Definitely no more papers if customers starts using EDI. A very important thing is reducing manual work, because a buyer, when it receives either dispatch advice or invoice, it is automatically imported to its ERP, and there is no need for a human person to retype the content of the document. Definitely, what is automated, so it provides much less human errors. Then switching to another part, to the supplier. So these advantages are pretty much similar, like for the buyer. But in addition, we are providing some additional services to the supplier, like visibility, which is meant for controlling stock in the shops. And when the supplier sees that this stock is falling down a certain limit, so the supplier can in advance to make replenishments of products. Another solution or service is called mobile merchandiser tool, and this is meant for those suppliers who have mobile agents or mobile salespeople who are visiting daily shops. So with this tool, they can make the order directly from the shop on behalf of the buyer. And this way, again, to provide replenishment of lacking goods much more quicker. And also e-factoring. Some suppliers, in order to maintain a certain, let's say, money capacity, they are applying to the banks to receive e-factoring. So Telema can help to get this factoring also electronically by sending copies of e-invoices to the bank. Then why this topic EDI is actual, and why Telema decided to develop this business. This is because we are following the global trend. So in this picture, it is indicated usage of electronic documents in certain countries, and the dark color indicates those countries in which this huge usage is the highest. Another example about e-documents, it comes from 2009, from UK and from grocery market. So you can see that already, how much? 12 years ago, about 90% of orders and invoices in UK were traveling as e-documents. Let's go closer to the Baltics. Already in 2016 in Lithuania, there was introduced a VAS and a SAF systems. So those are meant for providing information about dispatch advices and invoices to the government, in specifics to tax inspection. 1 year later, Lithuania issued a law that if the supplier is trading with the state company, with the state organization, all the invoices must be provided also electronically. The same mandate was followed in Latvia and Estonia in 2020 and 2018, respectively. So here I'm talking about business to government relations. Another very important and interesting fact is about Italy, which was the first country in EU which introduced mandatory e-invoices also in business-to-business transactions. And France will follow this rule in 2023, probably. So all these facts which I mentioned to you, it leads to understanding that sooner or later the same will come to Lithuania. And let's say one day a standalone ERP, which is not capable of exchanging e-documents, will be not so interesting for the customers because they will need electronic exchange. For those who maybe hears about the solution the first time, I have a couple of slides explaining how it works. So if we have a buyer and supplier, definitely they are using different ERPs. So Telema EDI logically unites these two ERPs or connects them. When the order is issued from the buyer, it automatically travels via secure channels and it is imported to suppliers in ERP and vice versa. Invoice issued is also received and imported by buyer's ERP. Naturally, it can be a question raised. Should customers use direct connection or EDI operator? And actually, it depends on the concrete case. It can be both ways. Let's say one day supplier decides to start exchanging e-documents with the buyer. So in the beginning, naturally, nothing will work because they use different document formats, and that's it. So in order to make this working, IT departments have to program a certain converters which convert from one document format to another. And the same is needed on the opposite side. So let's say if you have only few partners with whom you trade, you can make such kind of direct connections, and in this case, Telema will not be needed at all. But the problem becomes more actual when this number of your partners is getting bigger and bigger. So for each partner, you have to program the same converters, and not only to program them, but also to support and to update from time to time. So it becomes costly and inconvenient. So in such cases, we offer to use Telema as EDI operator. So advantage of this solution is that supplier or buyer has to agree only on one single channel between themselves and the Telema system, and also only one single document format, which they will be exchanging between them and our cloud. Then it is already Telema's responsibility to convert the document format, to check its contents and similar things. So visually, we can say that if you have many partners and if you use direct connections, so eventually you will have a spider network, which is not convenient to use and costly. And in EDI operators case, this picture is much more simpler. And also I would like to tell about what is used the most in current FMCG sector. So majority of the companies, maybe 90% or more of the companies, still they're using two document cycle. That means that they agree to exchange only orders and invoices between each other. So visually, we can explain in this way that, let's say, the shop is ordering 8 bottles of milk, but for some reason, supplier is dispatching only 7 because maybe it doesn't have enough bottles on stock. During the transportation, it can happen that some of the bottles are broken or stolen, or something else may happen. So in the end, a buyer is receiving only 5. The problem of this two document processing in this case is that, first of all, the buyer is receiving incorrect invoice with number of units 5 instead of 8. So meaning that they have to call, to email the supplier to ask to issue the correct invoice. And all this time, when this invoice is corrected, the goods cannot be placed on the shelves and cannot be sold. So it is a kind of lost revenue for the shop. And another disadvantage is that when the supplier is providing invoice to the shop, so this invoice comes with the prices, and those people who are checking the quantities, checking what is received, in fact, they should not be interested in prices. They should be interested only in quantities and products. And maybe some bad people can spread away this sensitive price information. So due to these disadvantages, some companies, they introduced 4-document cycle by adding additionally dispatch advice and receiving advice documents. So the same example then looks this way. After ordering 8 bottles, so supplier is dispatching the goods with 7 bottles and automatically is issuing dispatch advice with 7 bottles. without prices. Then receiving party is checking that only 5 bottles were received and issuing back receiving advice with 5 units. And only then supplier is issuing correct invoice with 5 units. So all of this scheme can be shown as this picture. Also, I would like to mention that in order to start using this 2-doc or 4-doc exchange, both parties have to exchange the product data information and price catalogs. So as soon as it is done, so they can start using EDI services. Yeah, so that was it shortly about EDI. If you will have questions in future, so you can apply to me either to our general email lit@telema.com or to my personal email. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramunas. Now it's my turn to present you. We are coming closer and closer to the question why we are here today. So let me also remind before my presentation starts that we have some Q&A session right after my presentation. So feel free to write some questions if you have those. Yeah, let's talk. My name is Valdis Zīters, and I'm sales director of Telema Latvia. And we are right now, my aim is to talk a bit more closer about cooperation with you as a business software providers and how we see from our perspective this cooperation. So what is the aim of certified partner program and why we have managed it? So it's we want to support and consult the business software support companies, enable to develop this EDI capability, also to teach you a bit about this EDI, what it means, how we understand it, and how it works from our perspective, and how it can be implemented into different ERP systems. And as already, I think it was hopefully convinced by my colleagues already talking before me. So you see that e-invoicing and also electronic document exchange overall is a reality, and using invoices and orders and other EDI messages will be needed as a basic functionality in the near future for majority of our common customers. And this the only question is whether we are making it let's say hard to maintain for those customers, or we make it easy and affordable and possible to use. And our cooperation objective, as I'm usually telling overall, is to lower this entrance barrier for our common customers. How to start this cooperation? It of course consists of all these points which are mentioned here below, but mainly idea is really to simplify this process and also from your perspective to make one common possible way of interacting between our system and the systems you present. So it will make it more easier to work with. And why this cooperation is needed? So for our customers, it's as I already mentioned, we have this option, so make it easy to start and have this fast implementation process. And of course, we are aiming about being reasonably priced, and also transparency for the customer and partner and of Telema. This is quite crucial. So how fast and affordable it is exactly in this way, and what business processes and implementation is in scope. How we see the cooperation benefits for our partners. Mainly, this is extending the capability of your ERP software. So you have some kind of additional feature or additional options that can be offered to your customers. Hopefully, this is providing you more also possibilities for your revenue streams. Also, competitive advantage is quite crucial in our opinion. What means in your software, if we are talking about the standardization process from this Telema EDI module, it makes this whenever the next customer comes, it makes easier and more optimal, and moves this integration process, and also minimize implementation efforts for all the parties which are involved in whenever the next customer want to start EDI process. And since the system is already once tested and made, so we have really less work on next phases whenever next customer is linked with the same EDI module system. And if we look from the certified partner program, how it looks from our perspectives, and there are certain requirements which we would like that are followed, and we have this so-called Telema EDI module which we would like to offer for you to implement in your systems. We have this Telema eDoc format, which is aimed as a potential data transfer format for exchanging data between your system and Telema. And we are aiming that during this implementation phase, we are reaching this acceptance or signing at the end some acceptance act, which helps us to let's say approve that this connection works in a real way. And then there are of course some kind of purely legal facts which we are following, like cooperation agreement, which consists of things that are describing these both technical and also our cooperation objectives, which are stated in that agreement. And of course, we are keeping and or following this situations that also this cooperation follows on during the customer integration. And also we would like, if you as a partners are interested also in common marketing and sales activities later on when you have this module implemented or upgraded in your system. And this how it looks from Telema perspective for our common customers. Our functionality part, usually we are telling that then it's offered for free of charge. So again, this lowering entrance barrier, which is quite crucial also for companies who are probably having lower document volumes and where the costs for system implementation are quite reasonable, then it makes sense. So we are also offering our part of this connection free of charge, so you can that the customer can start faster this electronic document interchange. The slide which you have seen a bit before, it's not so that we are fresh on this market and we have not done so. Just a bit more statistics. This is amount of certified partner companies among Baltics already we have right now. I also saw that in our today's meeting there are some participants who are already representing the companies whose solutions are already certified by Telema. So happy to see them. But there's always an option of extending or obviously making this cooperation bigger and wider. And again, from our perspective, how we see why Telema EDI module is good. So we are talking about reducing the workload for you as a software support, and of course making this process itself more clear, more evident, more understandable, and more easy to trackable also whenever something should be changed. And from the customer perspective, he knows that the EDI functionality offered by business software is on the best level possible right now. So electronic documents exchange is standard functionality, also from our perspective of the modern business, and customers expect that this needed functionality is available in standard configuration of software. This is at least our information which we have gathered from the several customers which we meet on daily basis in our markets. And how exactly we are right now mainly promoting the option about using a REST API as a communication channel for communication between the partners and ERP partners and Telema. And this is stated based on certain prerequisites which we were describing in this slide. So to make it more also simplified, and it implements also a lot of additional functionalities which are helping or increasing the quality of this intercommunication between the software and Telema system, so we can satisfy our customers on more higher levels than it has been done so far, using more simplified communication elements. And about Telema module, how it consists of. So we have this document exchange with the Telema system. This is the same way how it has been working also so far. So document format transition to our Telema eDoc format. It also includes this error management and validation, and it should also include this document logging and document exchange scheduling as an optional option. And from the technical scheme possible, how it would look, this is an example, so that the documents can flow from our Telema system back and forth to the ERP system, and this module is implemented inside the ERP as a additional functionality. And also you see these processes which we see that are covered by Telema REST API part on the system. There are 7 steps how the companies can become the Telema certified partners. So of course, first of all is to reach some kind of common agreement about using Telema EDI module as a main communication channel between Telema system and your ERP. And then we are, of course, signing the cooperation agreement. Then going through the development and testing phase and making these acceptance tests mentioned already before. And usually we are trying to combine it with some kind of pilot customer whom we have already, so that we are not developing the module functionality just empty in the space. And it is likely requested or made that we are making also some kind of joint sales and marketing activities where we are promoting this option as additional cooperation way, but also we will show it a bit later. And this means from there are many steps we can make it as also some kind of joint seminars and activities where we are both together explaining the benefits of EDI, as well explaining the need of EDI overall in the market, But there is also this first simple step. We are giving the partners this logo that can be set on your websites so that you are certified partner by our company, and also all the mentioned activities that I told before are also quite crucial ones. Here's a small example across the countries how whose softwares are already certified. I know that in each of the softwares there is also, of course, some kind of different systems. So we are generally certifying the partners who are providing these softwares. So that doesn't mean that in all the softwares where already the certified solution is in, this is like work is done. So we can definitely work more and develop more things among those companies who are representing similar softwares. And overall, so we are prioritizing our cooperation with business software companies, and we are always ready to help and to consult you on both on Telema module development, as well also we are ready to share our knowledge about EDI as we are doing today. And we are definitely more eager to promote certified partner solutions to our customers whenever they are choosing some kind of fresh ERP or are thinking about changing the ERP. And of course, the result should be like win-win situations for all involved parties, and we need to reach the happy customer at the end. And yes, just list of things which are still valuable for all of us, and that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Zane, do we have any questions?
No, we don't have any questions as of yet. So I will launch a little poll. And in the meantime, you can still post your questions, and we will try to address them either in this Q&A session or at the end of the webinar.
Okay, then I'm happy to give over my word to my southern colleague, Juozas, who will go already more into the technical things and tell more about technical part. Juozas?
All right, for a couple of minutes, the poll will be still open. For now, it looks like the question was, what's your experience with EDI? And it seems that a lot of listeners don't have any experience with EDI and ERP integration as of yet, so they're just educating themselves. I believe for them, this initial part with Valdis and Thomas and Ramunas was really valuable. And if you have any questions, you can always just contact us directly. And also, a lot of listeners have done some EDI and ERP integrations. And what's really great to hear is that customers are happy, because there was an option that customers are struggling. If for any reason that's your case, definitely talk to experts and try to sort it out, because mostly customers are happy with those integrations. So I think that's it for Q&A. No questions coming in? Nothing? All right, so I'm handing over the mic to Juozas and ending the poll.
Okay, so hello everybody. This is Juozas Andriuškevičius from Vilnius, Lithuania. So I will cover topic Telema for the partner development team. So this presentation will be a little bit more technical presentation. It will cover technical aspects when creating ERP EDI module in your system. So let's go on. So when creating EDI module, ERP provider has to consider technical connection aspects. This is something like agenda will be what I will be talking about in my presentation. So first, it is communication channel. So meaning that it is a communication channel where how Telema server is going to talk with your ERP EDI module. So is it some web service that was mentioned before, REST API that we highly recommend, or it will be something else? I will cover pros and cons of these methods. Okay. There's also document types and directions. So when creating this EDI module, you have to consider what document types and specifically directions your ERP has to support, because it makes a lot of difference. Okay, what else? I will be covering document structure. So we are transferring documents, and with documents, they have to be structured in some kind of document format that is structured and consistent format. So I will cover possible solutions, our recommendations, and what are our options. Okay, and very important aspect in creating EDI module, it is identifying document parties, identifying products. And last but not least, it will be resources. Okay, so let's go. Communication channel. So first, when talking about communication channel, we have to talk about model that we are going to choose, in which we are talking between Telema server and ERP. So most common solution, it is direct channel, meaning that our Telema server, it has direct connection with ERP instance, some one or two. So meaning that each, by instance, I mean your client. So each client would have a separate channel that would have unique identification, and by unique I mean different username, the different client secret, and in this way we can identify who is sending the documents, and this is called direct channel. What else is possible? It would be possible to have ERP cloud, meaning that we have one connection between Telema server and ERP server. So meaning that we would have one channel with one identifiers, and we would identify document sender and receiver based on document contents. So this could be used if you have some kind of cloud solution on the web and you want to have one channel with Telema. Okay. Okay, so when this model before, this was just the model that we can exchange documents with, but now talking about concrete solutions. So we highly recommend connecting your ERP with Telema REST API. I will go into more details in the next slide. What are the reasons? It is also possible to use Telema Gateway, a simpler solution, but it may be used as a temporary solution, or in some cases, maybe it would be useful. I will also cover that. So, Telema REST API. Telema REST API transmits EDI messages from the end user system, your ERP, to the Telema EDI system. So, what are the pluses and what are the minuses? So the main plus is that it is a standard solution, meaning that we have many monitoring possibilities. Our customer support is much more experienced with this type of channels, and it's much more easier to support. And second point, it is that using Telema REST API, it enables direct connection with Telema EDI system, our server. So that means that your ERP can talk directly with Telema server and exchange messages directly. So this would be much more convenient because you have much more possibilities to log things in your ERP and show to the customers. For example, a very good thing is that if we are talking about sending some document, for example, invoice, then we can directly make a connection with Telema REST API, and when sending this invoice, we receive feedback from Telema server that invoice is accepted in the Telema system. We can't say that it is accepted in the receiver system, but we can say that it is accepted in Telema system. That means that it has main, it meets main requirements of the document, and it is correct in general. So you can place like a green checkbox on this document. Okay, so this also in turn means that you can directly handle errors in your ERP because you have this direct connection. You can place not a green checkbox, but maybe some red checkbox if there is some error. Okay, so you have better traceability of documents. Documents are exchanged in real time, meaning that if you have document that your ERP wants to send, you place the query and it is in Telema system. You don't have to wait for some schedule, and it will be much more convenient for the end user of your ERP, because if he clicks a button, send this invoice, this invoice could be actually sent right at that time. Okay, so this does not require some certificate files from Telema. This is some older stuff that was used with Telema gateways. Maybe someone who is already experienced with this knows that it is easier. Yes, this Telema REST API is compatible with all platforms also, because this is standard web service that you can implement using whatever programming language. Okay, what are the minuses? So the main and only minus is that it will require more effort to implement on the client side, meaning that you have to basically create this document sender and receiver process. So there will be no other intermediary program that would do this sending and receiver. You have to program this stuff for yourself. But I would say this is not very difficult thing, because we have extensive documentation with examples, and this is thing that was done by many ERPs, so it works quite easily. Yeah. Okay, next, what else is possible? Telema Gateway. It is a special application that could be installed in the partner's IT system, and it basically acts as a sender and receiver of documents. So this is basically some Java agent that is reading one folder and looking for documents to send, and it is writing to another folder, and Telema Gateway is checking this folder for documents to be sent to Telema. So, okay, so this is also something that we develop and maintain. So this is also a possibility to use. So okay, so this is also a standard for solution in Telema. So we transfer documents securely over HTTPS channel. It is low activation cost. And it is compatible with all platforms, Windows and Linux systems. Okay, so what are the minuses? I have covered some of them. So yeah, so it is basically a document mailbox in file folders. You have file folders for export, file folders for import, and and this direct connection to Telema server is between this Telema Gateway and Telema server. So meaning that if there is some errors, so these errors are written to log files in Telema Gateway directory structure. So meaning that if you, for example, if you export some invoice, this invoice is file is placed in some folder, and basically your ERP does not know was it sent or not to Telema. So this could be seen only from some log file. This is not so good usability in terms of end user. Yeah, so this agent is made on Java, so Java runtime environment is needed. Okay, so what else is possible? So I will cover some also non-standard solutions that we don't recommend, but they are possible. Okay, so it could be some custom ERP web service. For example, if you would ERP have some web service that you would like that Telema could use, FTP or SFTP, and some other options. So okay, so these methods in general could be possible, but are not recommended because these methods in essence would be non-standard in Telema system, and this in turn would create issues for Telema customer support, and this also would create more issues for ERP customer support, because it would be more difficult to solve some issues that would be could happen. And yeah, so if Telema support can support much more wider range of issues, it would be also easier for ERP customer support and for our customer, and in the end the client would be much more happier. Okay, so it is low reliability because we have had some not so good experience with FTP solutions, for example, because sometimes is not so reliable. We have maintenance issues. So, for example, there could be some solutions that, from my experience, these, for example, ERP web services, they could change quite often. And if Telema would need to support many versions of some custom ERP web service, that would not be very convenient. And for example, there could also be some cases where two or more versions could exist. One client has some older version, other client has some newer version. That would in turn create some maintenance issues. And we have fewer monitoring functionalities. Okay. So what else? Useful keywords. So this is just something for your information. AS2. This is something that Telema knows, and this is like a widely used document exchange format in the world for EDI documents, and also PEPL. PEPL is network of EDI operators that is becoming more and more popular. So why I'm talking about these two communication methods? So in general, this should not be like something that your ERP should communicate with Telema server. But in my experience, there were some clients that some ERP clients that was requiring some connection with their trade partner that requires these methods, for example, S2 or PEPL. And this would be just useful for you to know that this is something that we can help your client with, because we can quite easily make these connections and start exchanging documents, because most probably it would not be wise to create these communication channels from scratch for some particular case. It would be just more better to connect this client to Telema, and in turn this client could connect to other partners using AS2 or PEPL. And regarding PEPL, if you should know that if your client is connected to Telema, he is in turn connected to PEPL network, because Telema is connected to PEPL network. This PEPL network is, as I mentioned, a network of other EDI operators. Yeah. Okay, so I have covered communication channel. What is more? Document types and directions. So when creating EDI module, you have to consider what client roles ERP will support. Based on that, it makes a difference what documents need to be imported, what exported. So, for example, by role, I mean supplier or buyer. So, for example, if we are talking about supplier, he will import order. And if we are talking about buyer, he will export order, and this order will be sent to supplier for import. So, based on that, you have to think what roles are you will be supporting, and maybe you have can make some decisions at first to support both much easier, because only the direction is different. So this is just a table, meaning showing that, for example, in what role, what document is imported or exported, incoming or outgoing. also what I want to mention this invoice. It is, you have to think that usually debit invoices are exchanged, but it would be also good to support credit invoices. So this is also something to consider, what documents types to create. Okay, so these first four: order, dispatch advice, receive advice, and invoice. These are most standard EDI messages. What is new with order response? This is like a document that is this is a response that supplier is sending to buyer that he can, for example, deliver some goods, and when he can deliver. But this is not like dispatch advice. This is just like confirmation email that okay, we can do something like that. But this is in EDI document sense. Okay, so the same similar table, but regarding document process. Okay, so this is also something that was talked before by my colleagues. So yes, you see that your ERP module should support these documents, and also you should support both to document and for document. What I mean by both, if you have for document implementation ERP, you should support also two documents, and different buyers for the supplier should have could be configured in different document exchange scenarios. Yeah. So, and with order response, this is like additional document type that could be used with either 2doc or 4-document exchange scenarios. Okay, next. Okay, so we currently covered communication channel, document types and directions, and now we are going to talk about document structure. This document, how it looks, in what format are we exchanging documents. So in general, we need some kind of document that has structured data. It is, yeah, it has to be structured data. It cannot be some like PDF or something like that. It has to be a structured document. So what we recommend? We recommend Telema eDoc. This is our in-house XML document standard that we highly recommend. It has extensive documentation, validators, and it is quite widely used. What I also very much like about it, that it is quite easily read by just these document names. You can see this example on the right. So it is also quite easily understood by non-technical person. So this is also very good. And also, what is possible? ECOD. This is another XML standard that is quite widely used in Baltic region. And if, for example, you have some implementation already with ECOD and you don't want to create another Telema eDoc implementation, we can also adapt to this ECOD structure quite easily, actually. Some other custom documents, meaning that maybe you have some custom document format that you would like, that we would adapt to. This is possible, but this has to be discussed case by case. What does it have all the needed fields, and is it consistent? And in theory, it is possible, and we have made such solutions. And also another keyword for your information, EDI. This is also something that we can do. We understand this format. So, for example, many customers in Telema exchange documents with in EDIFACT format. There are many different versions like D96A, D01B. So, for example, if your client asks to create such type of connection to exchange such documents, so you may know that we can do this. We can automatically convert this Telema eDoc to EDIFACT, and we are actually doing that because not many, but some buyers in Telema network, they expect to receive documents and send documents to this EDIFACT format, and we are translating these EDIFACT documents to Telema eDoc format. Yeah. Okay, so this is document structure. So in detail, if talking about Telema eDoc, we have quite extensive documentation that I will talk a little bit more in later slides, and there is some examples also so that you could look yourself. Okay, and if you already made this integration with Telema, you should know this keyword already. Okay, next is identifying in EDI module. Okay, so identifying document parties. So in most always every document there are three main parties. First, it is buyer party, delivery party, seller party. So, for example, this buyer party, it could be like a legal body of the company, for example, this Maxima Latvia, SIA, or some other retailers. So this is legal body, the one who is paying the money. Okay, what else? Delivery party. So this is some particular shop or warehouse that also has unique identifier. And this delivery party, it's actually very important in Telema system because the documents in Telema system are basically routed based on this document party. And seller party, this is if we are talking about suppliers, so this is supplier data. Yes. So, and each of this party could be identified by three dimensions. It could be party code. It is some custom ERP identifier. So most usually each ERP has some client card, some delivery place card, and this card in the ERP system, it has some identifier. So we can identify these parties based on these identifiers. What else is possible? GLN, GLN or a synonym is ILN. This is like 13-digit number that could be also we can exchange documents using this GLN. So it is the plus side of GLN, it is that this code will be the same on both sides, sender and receiver. And PEPL ID. So this is also just something I have mentioned before. Maybe if you are creating EDI module or if you are doing some kind of upgrades in your module, you should consider creating such field as a PEPL ID, because as I mentioned before, this PEPL is a network of EDI operators, and using this PEPL network, company is able to exchange documents with many companies that are connected to this PEPL network. And so there is this specific idea that basically you just could think about and implement this in your future EDI module releases, because this is gaining popularity and it could be used in the future quite widely. Okay, so next it is identifying products. The same. Okay, so each item can be identified by three main identifiers. First, it is GTN or EN barcode. Second, it is seller item code. Third, it is buyer item code. So this, if we're talking about first option, GTN, so this code will be the same on both sides. And this is most widely used method of identifying products. Seller item code, this is probably this also quite popular method of identifying products. It is a code from supplier ERP system, code that is unique in supplier system, that is like a custom code that should be told by supplier to the buyer that these are our codes, and we would like to receive orders based on these seller item codes. Buyer item code, it is used the least. It is a code for the product in buyer ERP system. So identification or matching order, it matters a lot, and it creates, from our experience in Telema, it creates some issues. If we are talking about order, I mean document order. So when buyer is sending this order and this order comes to supplier ERP system, so this how product is identified. So we have to choose who is the main identifier. So from our experience, it is best first to match by GTN code, second by seller item code, and last it is buyer item code. So this should be like the order of identification identifiers order. Okay, and last but not least, it is resources. Okay, so on telema.com, we have technical guidelines for implementing. This is this link you can find if you scroll down on telema.com to the bottom of the page. You will find this link. If you click on it, you will find extensive documentation for document formats, for communication channel. There are document examples that you can look how these documents look in Telema eDoc format. There is Telema EDI module functional requirements. So this is something that you could look how Telema thinks that EDI module should look like. This is it could be useful because we cover topics such as logging in your ERP and just topics that would make the life for end user most convenient. And validator. From my experience, this is very useful tool that we have that we provide. If, for example, you are creating some document and you created some output from your ERP and you want to check, is it correct, is it valid? We have a tool, validator tool, that you select document format, you upload the document, and this validator checks the document, and if there is errors or suggestions, these are very nicely printed out and you can just check the stuff. Okay, and also we provide feedback and we can talk with Telema IT project managers. So we talk and we can help you creating this EDI module. We consult what are the best practices and better solutions creating EDI module. We have two environments, live and pre-live. So if you want to test, you can test quite easily in pre-live environment. With test environment, we can create environments for your programmers, and we can try to break the system. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, users. We got one question, and I thought since your presentation has been quite long, maybe it's better to answer it right away. So, and the question was about why GLN is not enough. You mentioned it in your slides. Maybe you can go a bit more into detail.
Yeah, so GLN is enough. GLN is enough. We can identify party by just GLN. This is of course possible. Basically, you have to choose. These are two main identifiers: party code or GLN, and basically at least one is mandatory. So GLN is enough. This is just. I meant each party can be identified by these three dimensions. So this is GLN code is enough.
I like to add a little bit that GLN is enough in case all your suppliers or buyers are using it. But if they are not using all, then it's not enough. Then we should use some additional identifier.
Yes, good point. Actually, yes. Okay, right. Is there any other questions? I see that not. Okay, so if you will have some, so please write them.
Okay, so from my side, there's a quick poll. I just wanted to understand how comfortable is the audience with this particular technical detail. Yeah, and next speaker is Raul.
Yes, thank you,
Hey.
Hanna, and thank you, Rosas. I am Raul, and today I will talk about integration projects in Telema. My experience in Telema is quite short compared to Thomas. So as Thomas told, he's been here 20 years. So I have been only 10 years. I am mainly working on customer integration projects in Telema Estonian office. So once again, just repeating maybe a bit previous presentators, but yes, Telema integrated customer is the company is using some kind of EDI channel for connecting with Telema EDI system. And you already heard from Joosa's presentation about different channels or connection methods. When we talk about Telema EDI system, it's not actually one server, it's many servers, we can say, and it's interconnected software and hardware resource Telema's side to provide these EDI services to the customers. And our integrated customers use some kind of ERP or similar software that supports at least sales and purchase processes, logistics processes, and is capable to handle EDI documents. When we talk about EDI documents or EDI messages, then we think about invoices, orders, delivery notes, and so on. There are actually, most of our customers are using probably 2 or 3 EDI message types, but there are about 30 different EDI message types that are used currently in Telema EDI system. And so most of customers are only using like orders and invoices. And compared to regular software projects, when you start EDI project, when you talk about EDI project, so you cannot do actually EDI project only from one side, because you always need business partner also having EDI capability. This is a network system, or some partner who is currently working also on their side with EDI project. We have had experience where company built EDI solution or ERP integration without testing the solution with other partner and without so it's not giving any good results. It's always good to have a partner who plays with you when you want to test or build your solution. And in EDI projects, you have many different actors, depending on the size of the project, of course. If you're a very small company, then it's you and your ERP provider maybe. But quite often there are like internal actors like purchase or sales department, IT department is involved, accounting may be involved, they're interested in the invoices. And also the EDI is not actually only about, it's not actually IT department project, it should be a business side project. So the company should have also top management support for EDI project, which because EDI should in longer term reduce some expenses and help to maintain better customer relations with your clients. And of course, you have external actors like your suppliers, customers in the project, or logistics partners, or ERP partner, EDI operator, and all other EDI related partners. Quite often we experience here that as there are 4 to 5 different parties involved in EDI project, and the communication alignment between these parties may be sometimes difficult. And today, talking about this, mainly focus on actually success factors in EDI projects, and add my comments on the success factors, and the success factors are taken from the survey conducted amongst EDI integrators and ERP providers, and mainly there are two categories, non-technical and technical factors. Today, as the main ERP integrators here, we focus on technical factors. But shortly, the list of non-technical success factors you can see on the screen. I am not going to talk about each of them, but as you see, actually integrators consider these non-technical factors by the importance. So there are 10 main points that are considered to be very important factors. And technical success factors. Today we are going through these factors one by one. And the first thing considered by the survey is that's a solution that is implemented for the customer by ERP provider or the IT support must be easy to use. Which means, what we mean under easy to use, so it must be understandable from the end customer who is using and configuring this ERP. So this solution shouldn't be built this way that every time when I need to connect new partner or start with, I don't know, new RIMI shop, exchange documents, then it shouldn't need your IT guy or ERP partner involvement there. So the end user must be able to make configuration by themselves. There actually are, I don't know if there are any here, but we see from here that there are ERPs or such solutions. So for every change regards EDI, the customer needs to basically contact with the ERP support and ask basically configuration. I don't know if it's this way by attention or accidentally, but maybe this ERP support is selling their service this way. However, it's for the end customer, it's not comfortable if you have to ask a change from your ERP support company. Second success factor considered to be important was that there should be easy overview over sent and received documents in your ERP. Basically, the end user must see in ERP which documents and when, what time were sent and received with EDI operator. And why it's important? Because of course you all have, or all ERPs have, or most ERPs have orders list, invoice list, where you can insert or view your documents. But quite often we experience such a situation that customer actually cannot understand in their order list which orders were inserted by their colleagues manually, for example. I don't know, maybe order arrived by email also from somewhere, and which orders arrived through EDI channel. And if it's not possible to even see this thing, then it's for the end customer, it's very difficult to debug or understand maybe that with whom they need to talk if something, if they want to ask about this order, if something seems to be wrong, or if there is some problem related to this order. And we expect actually that there's this history of this about this document transactions should be visible also in ERP at least 6 months, because quite often, as you know, also from your experience, is bigger customers this lack between sending invoice and getting feedback on or payment from, I don't know, maybe from Rimi, it may be several months. So you need this history actually to talk with your partners. Next important thing was mentioned in the survey was flexibility of the solution that was implemented in ERP. So actually, when you do the solution or EDI solution on integration with Telema, then we don't expect to do this solution only for one customer. So actually, almost everything you do should fit or made this way that it's suitable for everyone, actually. Even if, I don't know, one customer asked that I need new data fields for, I don't know, invoice that my partner asked from me, then actually this new data field could be usable for all your customers who are using a similar solution. Then the solution should be flexible in terms that when document comes in from Telema, for example, is it order, an invoice, or other document type, so it shouldn't be very easy to kill the solution or import it on ERP side. Quite often we see that if there is for ERP unknown product code, for example, then document import totally fails. So it's not good practice. Because for the most cases, Telema doesn't check these product codes or EDI operator by the standard. So standard solutions is not changing this product data, so it's sent from the customers or partners this way, and we cannot guarantee that in ERP side is all these product codes are inserted. So unknown product code or unknown, I don't know, partner code should not kill your import solution. Yes, Joonas already explained about identification. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. Yes, and this flexibility of the solution also means that, as I told, that actually if you want to provide this EDI service for more your ERP customers, then actually it shouldn't require much development every time. It should be quite easily configurable. The level of connectivity was considered to be on the 4th place in the survey. And of course, also you also told about this real-time direct connection that can be achieved with REST API and this Telema gateway solutions. So I want to emphasize that it is actually very important to have this direct connection over API with Telema or with your EDI operator, because there probably will be much less questions and document lifecycle is much easily traceable. And this way customer can probably solve the problem quicker and more independently. 5th place is basically ERP software or software. Here we can talk that which solution or which ERP customer is using, because you cannot do everything in each ERP, and software architecture may be different. For example, if you have cloud ERP, totally online, or if customers are using it from browsers, maybe, then you can consider creating one common connection with Telema. So if you have once built this connection or this channel between Telema and your ERP server, then we could connect multiple customers over this one connection. So this is not a problem. And it makes very easy for you and also Telema to connect next customers to the same connection. And of course, ERP functionality is very important because in every ERP, or how we name ERP or CRM system, you may not have actually even all processes supported that sometimes customers need. For example, there are these small accounting systems, we cannot even call them ERPs, that many customers want to use EDI with this small cloud ERPs. But these cloud ERPs basically support only handling invoices quite often. There is even not such document type described as order in the system. And of course, there is no possibility to keep your warehouse or assigned, I don't know, best before dates or batch numbers to your products. So it's how good the solution and which solution, EDI solution customer can use. So it depends quite strongly also which ERP this customer is using, and because of the necessity to start using EDI, we see quite often that because of EDI and maybe for other reasons that we don't know so much, customers change their ERP. Sixth success factor was the level of process automation. So the idea of EDI is to decrease manual work, and we suggest, of course, here are like some common sense topics, like in every ERP, if you have order register, then you can open order and create invoice from order. But also, Joosas and Ramonas are talking about forward processes. So here we have seen that in forward processes, you are receiving or your customer who is supplying to Maxima maybe or to Rimi, they are getting this receiving advice documents, which is basically the response from the buyer that which goods and which amounts were received. And if possible, in ERP side, it would be very comfortable the work for the end customer, as if receiving advice arrives to ERP, and this receiving advice matches with delivered goods in your ERP side, then you can automatically create invoices. And of course, all other things that are not so strongly related to EDI, but which helps to make things quicker, is like starting the production automatically from order and so on. Security controls over transmitted data. Of course, ERP itself should be secure. EDI provider system is also actually keeping document history some period in their system and then document log. It should be secure. And also this channel between ERP and Telema should be secure. But I think that here that this overkill is also not needed. So there are, according to my experience, there are some customers that expect that someone wants to steal their information, and they always ask that I don't know how I know that you will not sell my data from Telema to some my competitor, and how I know that someone else will not get access to it. And then there are other type of customers. We are not usually trying to send this connection passwords over emails. We have this access in Telema portal, but if needed, we can send, of course, over email. But quite often, if we keep from our side this password in secret, then in next email from customer, all these passwords and usernames come back in one email and asking that, did I receive correct data from you? So other customers don't care at all. And the reality is that if someone wants to steal your data or prices, then, or wants to know your data or prices, then Baltics is so small. And they're so small countries that in reality, there are much easier ways to get this information than try to steal it from EDI provider and from ERP. And the final, the eighth success factor is considered to be selected EDI standard and the document format. So why we talk about it, as we also mentioned, but I can add that actually not all this EDI message formats that we see in the market, also in Baltics, they don't support maybe everything that your end customer needs to use. It may not support all these document types, or for some don't support some specific data fields, and it may cause problems. As you also mentioned, in Telema, we're using Telema EDOC format, and we have built this format to support basically all these bigger buyer suppliers requirements in Baltics. And also, if needed, we can always update it according to market requirements or market demand. One thing that wasn't mentioned, I think, was also UBL format. The UBL mainly came into our everyday work from this PEPPOL that was mentioned. That was initially mainly created for sending, receiving e-invoices in Europe. But this PEPPOL is using UBL invoice format. UBL itself is much wider. It has its own rules. It's also XML format. And if you hear about UBL, don't get afraid. We are also learning a lot about UBL, and maybe we can help you. And maybe it's also the future in Europe in EDI, because currently in each region EDI is used a bit differently. In Baltics we see much Telema EDOC, XML, and our competitors XML format to be used. In more widely looking in Europe, we see this EDIFACT in use, which is actually quite old format, at least in Europe. Mostly used EDIFACT version is from it's 25 years old already. So companies once have implemented the EDI solution and they have never changed it. It seems so, at least looking from here. And that's it with these EDI standards. And here is my summary. That EDI solution for the end customer should be simple and understandable, and customers should be able to trace this what happened with documents in their system, and when they send something to EDI operator, the configuration should be flexible, that customer can use it how they need it. And yes, let's not forget that actually EDI project is not IT department project. There must be also interest from business side, and if it's only IT department project, in other cases we can say it's meant to fail. So this non-technical part of the EDI project is also very important. And that's it. I see there are questions. Do you have API for Telema integration with external apps? Was the question. So actually, Telema API, or we have actually two API. One is the REST API, and we have that many of you know, we have the older version of API, which was created on .NET. The platform works only on Windows. Then these APIs are only meant to act as a callers. So you can use these APIs to ask and send documents to Telema, but we are usually not connecting from Telema to other external applications. If it answers the question. And if there are no more questions, then I will give my word over to my colleague Kristaps, who will talk about the PDS.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Raul, for the nice presentation, and I'll take over from here. Let me share my screen. And yes, I am, as I said, my name is Kristaps Bērziņš, and I'm part of Telema Latvian sales team. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to Telema's newest product, which is Telema Product Data Sync, or PDS in short. Obviously, Telema, as my colleague Thomas mentioned in the start of this webinar, that Telema invests quite a lot into research and development, and right now we have the pleasure to show you the newest product that we've developed for our clients. So let's start with the general question. Why is product data so important in supply chain, and what is product data in general? Let me give you an example. If, for example, a client in his local shop would see this exact box in the shelf, would he actually buy it? Of course not. He has quite a few questions arising right away. What is it? What's in it? What it consists of, for example, and then many more questions that arise before they can make a proper decision and actually purchase the product. So as you can clearly see, without the product data, this would be an impossible product to sell. But comparatively, these are quite simple questions to answer and to give this information to the end customer for him to be able to make an educated decision about purchase. But let me show you a fragment of all the data that's actually necessary in the whole supply chain, which is, for example, logistics data. As you can clearly see, there's quite a bit of information that is necessary for logistics to be able to process, plan, and actually execute their task of delivering the goods from the manufacturer, with all the in-between steps of retailers or distribution centers and into the store shelves. So quite a few of data that's necessary for them, and it's quite crucial that this data travels to the according spot, if you can put it like that, for them to be able to do their job. Obviously, they have to know the sizes, the weights, also the storage information, for example, if you can stack these boxes on top of each other and so on. So who and why actually needs product data? as I mentioned already, logistics, for example, they need to plan the transportation, they need to plan the storage, also storage conditions, which include, for example, temperature in which the product has to be stored, for it not to go bad or expire ahead of the planned time of expiry. Producers or distributors need to know the product data to be able to receive correct orders, to understand what what their customers are ordering to them. Also, it's really crucial for producers to have correct and understandable product data for customers to, in general, to be aware of their product, know the brand name, know that the product is good for them, or is it a better product than another product. For example, retailers obviously need to know the consumer information like the ingredients, expiry date as well, and consumers obviously, as I showed previously, that mystery box. They really need to know their answers to what they're actually looking for, so they can make educated decisions about the purchase, to be able to compare the products between themselves and so on. And also, not least, public sector, for example, they need to know their respective data of the products that are in retail, for example, for them to be able to administer Interstat reports, for example. Okay, just a pack of coffee, right? Not that simple, I'm afraid. As I already mentioned, there are various links in the supply chain that need to have various type of data for them, starting from production, as I already mentioned. Ad agency needs to have the photos, the brand names, product names, certificates, short descriptions, and so on. E-stores need additional information. As I said, also the logistics need the dimensions, weight, storage conditions, temperature, and so on. And the cashier or the cash register actually needs to know the EAN code, the price, the name, VAT group, just for them to be able to process it and actually sell it to the end customer. Now, let's go to the harsh reality of how the product data is being transferred between partners in the supply chain. And the most like specific case and most like bright case, I'd say, would be the communication between suppliers or manufacturers and the retail chain. That being that every retailer has its own product data table that has to be manually filled by the supplier or by the manufacturer, and supply this data to the retailer so they can implement it into their own system and manage the data for them to be able to sell the product as it is. Also the problem of there's no central database for managing product information. It's all being stored in various Excel files. Some are stored in ERPs, and the problem of it is that anyway, the end result for a supplier to be able to send the product data information to their customer, in general, like the retail chain, will be this Excel template that has to be manually filled. And the most ridiculous thing is that every retailer has a different format of it. They're all in Excel, obviously, but there are columns that are in a different order, or names are different. So the manual work which it takes to process this day to day is insane, staggering, to be honest. And obviously there is no automation. Yeah, there are some functions, for example, in Excel where you can make classificators, for example, a drop-down menu for picking some stuff. But in general, there's literally no automated function available as of now for a supplier to be able to actually fill this table without doing a lot of manual work, which involves copying or manual data entry and so on. Obviously, once those tables are filled, they are emailed manually to the retailers, which is also obviously not a safe way to share product information, product data, which most of the time includes sensitive information, like business sensitive information, which is of great value, as we all know. And also, in the end, the delays that are caused by manual entry or uncertainty of the people who actually enter this data, or just human error, which is something to always take account. You always have to take account for human error in this case, which after that you have to make corrections, which all goes in the end to the delays caused in the supply chain. And obviously we know that time is money, and every delay will cost a lot. Yeah, in theory, there are multiple ways how to manage product data, and in most cases, each and every company has its own way of doing stuff, and their way of understanding how to process this data and exchange with the data with their partners, or even within the company. And this causes even more confusion for the data exchange between the business partners. So that's where Telema PDS comes in. First of all, it's a safe environment to upload product data and store it in one place. You can manage the data, import data into the system, enrich the data within Telema PDS, and also publish it in terms of exporting it to a according retailer table. You don't have to do every single table manually, as by now. You can just, with a few clicks, you just select the rules that are necessary for your export. Basically, you know which retailers you have to supply with the information, and with just a few clicks, you just export this data into their according retailer table, and submit it to the according retailer. Obviously, history and traceability of all the data management is also a very crucial thing. And with Excel tables, most of the time, it's pretty much untraceable who made the changes, who made this mistake, or who like changed the price of the product, and so on. Basically, with all the variables that are connected to this process are pretty much untraceable in the old way of doing things. With Telema PDS, all the history, all the changes and exports and everything that's been done is traceable to specific users, and also you can see a clear history of how the product data has evolved from version to version, and so on. And there will always be only one active version, which is probably the most up-to-date one, or the most actual one. That's for the present solution. And for the extra features that we plan to implement in the future, as I mentioned before, we invest quite a lot into research and development, and Telema PDS obviously is no different in this matter. This product data export, storage and export from Telema PDS system is only the first major step in this product development. Obviously, we are planning to do integrations with ERPs on both ends, from supplier to the retailers and so on. Also, media management, which is really crucial nowadays, especially with the fast-growing business sector of e-commerce, e-shops, and so on, which also require quite specific information for their clients to be able to understand what they're actually selling and also make educated choices. As you can see, there are quite a bit more things that are in the pipeline for us to develop, and I'm really excited about what this product is already bringing to the table for the customers, and what additional value will it bring in the future. So one key advantage, obviously, for Telema PDS is the user-friendly interface, which we've already implemented, and with just a few clicks, you can make changes or set the rules for export and actually get the end result of what you want, which is the retailer table filled accordingly with all the product data validated against the corresponding retailer table, so you can be sure that the data will be exported in the right format, and also with the right values, if you can put it like that. For example, some retailers ask for the weight of the product to be in kilograms, others are asking for it to be in grams. Telema PDS will take care of that, obviously, and take care of that the exported tables are going to respond to the retailer requirements. So there will be no further delays with exchanging information back and forth, making error changes and so on, which speeds up the process massively. Okay, let me summarize real quick about Telema PDS. Obviously, it's a great solution for manufacturers, for distributors to easily create, manage product data in one safe database, in one safe environment that's easy to use, that has the traceability, and that has intuitive user interface, which compared to tens of various Excel tables is a huge time saver, and also I'd say a morale booster for the company employees who are dealing with this from day to day. There's no more need for manual copying between those tables, obviously, and management is also protected against inadvertent or accidental alteration of the data, which may happen when you're doing such a big amount of manual work, or even misuse, which is the safety part of this solution. Like the data can't be accessed by any third party or anyone that it's not intended to be accessed for. And in conclusion, as I mentioned, we really believe in this new product, and I'm sure you also can see the benefit that this product would bring for our mutual customers, of course. And one wish from us all at Telema to you as our ERP partners, obviously, you also have communication with your customers, with your clients on a daily basis, and sometimes it might happen that they mention or ask for a solution that would help with this manual labor, and just make sure you offer them Telema PDS. That's it from me. thank you for your attention. And now we can go to the final Q&A section of this webinar.
Thank you, Kristaps. How's my sound?
Sound is good.
It's better now.
Okay,
It's
great to
good.
hear that. So I'll do another quick little poll. And in the meantime, if anybody has questions, please go ahead and post them. Or in case there are no questions, we will probably end the webinar within a couple of minutes, and you will have saved 5 minutes.
Silence. No questions.
No question.
Deep silence.
Many introverts.
In Baltic scale, introverts are only in Estonia.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not sure about it either.
So frankly, I was looking forward to Lithuanian participants, simply because Latvians feel like we are more introverted than Lithuanians, so they could do more questions, but apparently not today. So I guess COVID has turned us all into very introverted persons. So all right. If there are no questions you would like to post openly right now, but you have something you would like to discuss, maybe you can contact directly either Latvian or Lithuanian team. There were emails in the presentations, and also tomorrow you will receive a follow-up email from me/Zoom, and there will be a contact information for each country, so you can always go straight to the right person and talk about what matters to you. So I think that is it. Thank you, everyone. I'm really glad that we are on time. And have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.